6-4.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there on the internet. I am Emmett Watkins Jr. and I just got out of the theater from the viewing of Black Panther. And you guessed it, I'm about to talk about it. For the first couple minutes we will not include any spoilers, but do be aware that spoilers will be discussed towards the back half of this video. Lord help me, I don't know how long this is gonna be, so please bear with me. I won't make it a movie length. Trust me that much. But yeah, let's get into this film. First off, let me just say, I have to give context for the last really big impactful Marvel movie that hit me. Spider-Man Homecoming is that film. Now, I have seen Thor Ragnarok since, and that movie was great in its own right. But Spider-Man Homecoming was really, really special for me. I think the last Marvel film that I really had an explosive reaction to beforehand, before Spider-Man Homecoming, was probably the original Avengers. Saw that when I was very young, and it just blew my expectations out of the water. Didn't even know it was a movie to care about, and then saw it in the theaters. Parents just took me there, really didn't say a word until I got to the theater and realized that's what we were watching, and it just hit me in the gut. Did not expect it to be such a masterpiece. Spider-Man Homecoming, somewhat similar affair. I was already planning on seeing that with friends in Texas. I'm much older at this point. I'm traveling on my own. I live in Georgia and I was in Texas, so many years had passed by that point. I guess, 5 to be exact? Maybe 4. Anywho, that movie really just hit me in the face with how refreshing it was. I went into Spider-Man Homecoming I didn't expect it to be bad at all because the internet had told me otherwise, but I didn't expect it to take the directions that it took, making some more mature jokes, there was literally a joke about slavery in that movie, and it just really felt authentic to that whole being an adolescence thing that was in the movie. Just being an adolescent felt like it was really drived home in that movie, and I don't know, that movie just it exceeded all expectations I had of it because I didn't have any expectations. I assumed, okay, we're gonna see him get bit again for the 3rd time. We're gonna see Uncle Ben get shot again for the 3rd time. We know the Spider-Man formula, and I walked out of that movie completely having changed my concept of what a Spider-Man movie could be, and how it doesn't have to be an origin story every time, and how they can actually let him be in high school for a little bit and not have it be, something that they just forget about very quickly into the film. Now, I say all of that because when I talk about Black Panther, I was very obviously, very clearly hyping myself up for this film. The whole world was hyped. The whole internet was hyped. Everyone's excited for this movie. We're all excited to see it do well. We all love this movie. I love this movie. At the end of the day, I truly enjoy and love this movie. I adore this movie in a lot of rights. But when I got out of Spider-Man Homecoming, I sat there and cried for like 30 to 45 minutes after the credits were done and after we left the theater. I don't know what came over me, but I just got really emotional at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, and the ending it's not an ending that calls for an emotional reaction, but I gave it that, and it carried on for a while. I was damn near hysterical, sobbing and stuff. Black Panther didn't have me do that, and I think the reason that is because I knew Black Panther was going to be great. I knew this movie was going to be everything I wanted, and it was even a little bit more than I thought I wanted as well. I think the reason I didn't have such a crazy reaction to this film is because this film merely met my expectations rather than exceeded them. That might sound like a criticism, but my expectations were very, very high for this film. This film hinted at things and went places and made references to things that I didn't think would be in any movie at all. Or be in any... I didn't think it would be in this movie. I didn't think it'd have a chance to be in a Disney movie, because lest we forget, this is still a Disney film. Just outstanding all over the board. So that's the framework I'm working with here. That's the main idea. I love this movie. Didn't hit me with the reaction as hard as I thought it would. But regardless of that, I'm really putting this movie up there with the best of the MCU. The more I think on it, the more Black Panther might be my favorite character now in the MCU. He really shows himself as, because if you've watched Civil War, then you understand that his father died, which, you know, if you put 1 and 2 together, kind of implies that he might be the new king. Now, I don't want to talk about the film itself yet, since I'm still trying to stay away from spoilers. But yes, things like that happen. But he proves to be a kinder, gentler hand. What I like about this movie is that it is, you know, a battle of two extremes to a certain degree. It's the main character, T'Challa, also known as the Black Panther. He's one extreme, and Killmonger, Eric Killmonger, the villain that you'll see, played by Michael B. Jordan, by the way, who I love and other stuff, he is the extreme on the exact opposite side. And what the movie ends up telling you is neither extreme is good. Really trying to get away from spoilers here, but yes, that's the theme of the movie. Neither of these two extremes are good, and one character kind of meets in the middle. And seeing as this is a Marvel film, you can probably assume who that is. But yes, I was really struggling because, you know, this movie was marketed as the villain is going to be this, and you already know who the good guy is, Black Panther. They really flipped that on its head in this movie, and I didn't expect it to go in the direction or directions in which it went. And I loved it for it. It turned out to be a much more heady type of setup, something you had to think about a little bit more. It definitely was, sorry, I'm moving around in my chair a little bit. It definitely, a lot of the struggles here kind of represented some of the real life struggles going on in the world right now. And that's something I really, really, really dug. There were definitely some like straight out lines that could be, you know, you take those lines, pluck them out. You could definitely apply those to, you know, our current situation in America, in which I'll get into in a moment. But yes, this movie was just, it just warmed my soul. I gotta say, this movie was it just delivered on everything. And once the credits were rolling, I just found myself just with the dumbest, just the most happy and content I've been in a minute. Just the smile that I had was just the dumbest, biggest smile in the world. It wasn't coming off my face anytime soon. It just delivered on so many fronts. And that's the thing. I expected this movie to be great. I expected this movie to have a lot of black pride. I expected this movie to have, you know, the whole kit and caboodle, especially for us black folk. And it had that, but it had it to the point where it wasn't just something you could admire. It had it to the point where it made a little bit of commentary about current events and a little bit of commentary about not just what's going on in the world, what's going on in black communities and the black, like, there are concepts in here there are concepts and beliefs that are held by, you know, fellow black people, and they speak to that a little bit, which I really didn't expect from, once again, a Disney film. It was definitely something mind-blowing for me. Now, that's the main thing. I want to say this. I'm going to start moving into spoilers pretty soon, but to wrap up my, you know, basic surface level thoughts, movie messes with some interesting, you know, deeper concepts than other Marvel movies, and for that I really loved it. Of course, the action is there. There's a great battle at the end of the movie, actually. That's really spectacular to watch. There's some great action in the middle of the film as well. Some really cool twists that I didn't expect, so I will not spoil those for you until, you know, in a couple minutes. And just an outstanding film. If you are a Marvel Cinematic Universe fan, you will, I feel like the ending of this definitely implies some things are going to change in the cinematic universe. Black Panther's world of Wakanda will become a bigger part of the universe, I feel. I feel like that's definitely likely, seeing as to the events that happened in this film. And You're gonna want to watch this to prepare yourself for Infinity War, of course. And also, this movie is just a fun time. It really knows it knows what to make fun of. It knows what to take serious. It's just spectacular all around. The cast is great. You got Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. You got Michael B. Jordan, like I already said. Lupita Nyong'o, oh my god, I love her so much, and I'm so glad to see her in a little bit more. Seeing her, I saw her in 12 Years a Slave was the first time I was introduced to her, and seeing her in this role where she's like the love interest and a powerful and strong one at that shit's so dope, man. It's just great all around. And God, I forget the actress's name, please forgive me, but the young lady who plays Michonne on The Walking Dead, she is outstanding in this role as well. She does so good as the general. And you got Daniel Kaluuya as well, even though his character a little bit, I think differently of him now, but he did a fantastic job as well. Just everyone in this movie delivering on all cylinders. Loved it. Awesome. Now that we spent the first 11 minutes of this talking on a surface level, we're going into spoiler territory right now. So, spoilers starting now. So, what the fuck was this movie, man? I did not expect it to go to the places in which it went. First off, these niggas went to Oakland. They went to Oakland, California at the beginning of the movie, and then it ties back into like a deeper thing. Bro, okay, so when I was talking about those deeper themes that the movie kind of digs into a little bit, the two extremes that are at battle here is, the place of, like, it's kind of like, how much should you do to help? That's the big philosophical question, because Wakanda is hidden in secrecy, and it's this crazy technological land where they are way above everyone else in the world technologically, and they have all this power, yet all these people in the world are suffering. You have black folks in America that are suffering, and you have black folks in Wakanda that are sitting there high and mighty, but just look at the world and do nothing. That's this whole conflict of the movie. When you have power, should you bend down and help? If you are at a place of higher stature, do you bend down and help those that are less fortunate? And ultimately, this movie agrees you should. But what I loved about it is it kind of took but you can't be extreme about it at the same time. Eric Killmonger's character, the fact that he was like, oh, I'm going to be king so I can use all these weapons to kill those others in power so we can be in power. No, it's that turned out to be the bad thing. That's what I was impressed by. I was like, holy shit. Because I've had in this current political climate, I've been having these thoughts so often because politics come up so much more nowadays in pretty much every line of discourse. And I'm always torn between, I'm always, because I'm a black person myself, obviously. You've seen my thumbnails, you've seen other stuff. I'm on the internet, you've seen my face. So, I'm always conflicted on how extreme I, personally, should get with my beliefs. And, of course I want our people, black people, to, be done right by, because we have been dealt the raw hand so many times throughout history. But I'm also fighting against the urge to go all the way with it. Eric Killmonger was clearly crazy. He was clearly driven by a sense of revenge, not by a sense of evening the playing field. It was just really cool to see that be the, I don't want to say villain, adversary in this situation. I thought that was really, really cool, because that is definitely something I try to fight against. And ultimately, T'Challa, he has to look at both sides of this thing, with his father being complacent and, his father not wanting to interfere with the world because then now mess up what he has in Wakanda. He has to basically shout his father down and come to terms with the fact that he was wrong. You do not just hide yourself away from the world when you know damn well that you can help. That was just, oh man, I didn't expect the movie to do that, because that type of stuff has been on my mind for so many months. So it was so cool to see it realized in such a pretty much on the nose way. I just fucking loved it. Yeah, so that's like my favorite part of the movie right there. And then on top of that, it doesn't just dip into, you know, like, oh, it dips into this whole which extreme is best and ultimately somewhere in the middle is the best. It doesn't just do that. It goes deep into a lot of black stuff. Eric Killmonger, he is definitely like one of those, like, you know how people be like, oh, you so woke, but then you know those people who are too woke, and then they be like shouting down shit that's actually decent in the world, or that isn't really that bad in the world. Eric Killmonger was just too woke. Or maybe woke in a more harmful way, but it was just like I loved in his death scene when he finally accepted his death, how he said, you know, he had the choice to live, but he was like, no, bury me in the water with my ancestors, because they were smart enough to know that death was better than bondage. For as much as I ultimately sympathize with Eric Killmonger, I did not, you know, I hated him for a while when he was taking the throne and everything and T'Challa was dead, but I really came to sympathize with that character by the time he was, you know, completely gone. That quote from him about the ancestors, that is a direct callback to slavery. Like, god damn, in a Disney movie. Where the fuck am I? I couldn't believe I was watching this. And so on top of that, this is the type of movie to not just make references to slavery and like the plight of black folk throughout history, but also this movie made references to like modern pop culture and like had vibes of modern like black culture and stuff. One of the characters made a "what are those" joke. That's from Vine like 3 years ago. How dope is that? That they would incorporate that in the script and know that that would hit with audiences like us. That is so dope, and it had plenty of stuff like that. And plus, you know, you had the Kendrick soundtrack from Black Panther, the soundtrack, of course, which I've heard a myriad of times by now. They use some of the tracks in some of the scenes as well. A lot of the action scenes use, I remember the car chase scene uses Ops, that also had Vince Staples on it. And then, you know, All the Stars is used at the end credits, of course, and then I feel like you also get a little bit of instrumental stylings from King's Dead in some of the battles and some of the fights. Just outstanding to see Kendrick involved in something like this. Seeing the TDE logo in the credits of a Disney movie, just fucking wild. That was just so cool. Oh man, the more I think about this movie, the more I love it. It's not one of those where everything hit me at once, because this isn't a movie where it delivers everything in the runtime. This is a movie where you mull over it and think about it, and think about all the symbolism, think about all the similarities, think about all the things that was in the movie that speaks to the current environment. It was just outstanding. Like, even his speech at the end of the movie in the after credit scene, where he's speaking to the United Nations for the first time, and he's talking about how, you know, fools build barriers and, you know, leaders build bridges and all that type of stuff. That is like almost a direct volley and a direct conflict with the stuff that's going on in our current administration and all types of stuff. And then when that one guy at the UN is like, well, what can y'all country offer us? And then, you know, Black Panther just smirks. He's just very humble about it. It's like, that is such a like, that is like a totally like, I'm a white person, what the hell is a black person gonna do for me? That is so like, and then just humbly being like, oh, you fool, you have no idea. That shit is so baller. Like, it's just so cool how this movie was handled. I just really, I don't think they could have done anything else, or they could have done things. I'm gonna talk about that momentarily, but the movie was just fire, just outstanding, so many ways. Angela Bassett, kind of underused. I will be honest. It's hard to put Angela Bassett in a movie like this, and she is in such a minor role. She did get a little bit of time to shine once T'Challa died, but I would have liked to see her a little bit. I would have liked to also see Lord, I don't know the actress's name, but she's about to be everywhere because everyone loved her. T'Challa's little sister, she was spectacular in this film. I adored her. She was so the comedic relief of this movie, and also the brains to a very large degree of T'Challa. She was outstanding. God, I forgot the white guy who, you know, he was in The Hobbit. I forget his name, but he was outstanding as well. Very minimalistic role, of course. He's the one white guy in the Black Panther, so like he can't be the main star, but I appreciated him. It was cool seeing an outsider's reaction to Wakanda, especially a white outsider's reaction to Wakanda. So impressed with like just how far they've come. And he wasn't the type of white dude to be like, a society of blacks did this. It was really nice to see him be surprised, but not surprised because of that. That was awesome. Just this movie, just outstanding. I would have liked to see T'Challa's sister used a little bit more. I loved her so much that I would have loved to see her a little bit more. Lupita Nyong'o, excellent work from her as well. She was outstanding in her role. I got just as much of her as I wanted in this film. I loved every time I saw her in this movie. I'm really like, there's so many things I could list about what I loved about the movie. I'm getting close to 20 minutes already. I don't want to go too deep into things, but yeah, man, this movie delivered for me, man. This movie gave me all the wholesome blackety blackness I wanted. And the more I think about it, I was listening to the Black Panther soundtrack once again on the way home from the theater, and I'm connecting so many of the songs to the thematic elements that were in the film itself as well. I was wondering how songs like Paramedic and how songs like Big Shot and X were going to incorporate into the film, but like now I'm literally listening to the lyrics and I'm like listening to it and I'm like, oh shit, this is literally like, this is one-to-one matching up with the film as far as the themes of each song. King's Dead itself, even though that's a song that's going to be on J-Rock's album, the song really kind of incorporates all of those who were happy that Killmonger took over the throne for a moment. That probably would, go into Daniel Kaluuya's tribe. They were probably the ones that were happy about it. And then you just have like I Am, the Georgia Smith track. That track just goes into, how maybe if you are able to help, you should help, and how I'm trying to help now. It is just, oh man. And how Lupita Nyong'o, oh man, the little feminist quotes low-key in this movie as well. Like, sure, I loved all the female generals and stuff. That shit was dope as hell. But like how Lupita early on in the film was like, oh man, you'd make a, that's why you're not queen, because you're stubborn. And then she's like, I'd probably make a good queen because I am stubborn. Like, bro, that type of shit is like, oh man, they're making shit hot. I just love this film a whole lot, man. I could talk about this film for another 20 minutes if I wanted to, but I think I've said my case. I'm sure I'll think of other stuff after this is done, but God, this movie just delivered on all fronts for me. Can't recommend it enough. Go see the movie. I'm sure you could maybe argue a little bit more action would have been nice. I saw this with a group of like 10 other friends, so I'm sure that some of them told me their qualms with the movie right after, and I can see some of the things. A little bit more action would have been nice. Ending might have felt just slightly a bit anticlimactic. Doesn't feel like we got the fight scene with T'Challa and Killmonger at the very end. There was a little bit of cutting between that fight scene and the larger battle that was going on outside. The cuts from that were maybe a little too frequent, and then made the fight scene from Killmonger and T'Challa a little bit less important, so that when it ended, it didn't feel like there was a whole battle leading up to that one stab. But ultimately, I feel like that's a very minor thing. Something I definitely noticed, but didn't really do much to tarnish the movie for me. Love the movie. Love the Black Panther. I can't wait to see the implications that the reveal of Wakanda to the rest of the world. I can't wait to see the implications of that in the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because there has to be some implications, because that shit is crazy to any other superhero. I want to see how Tony Stark is going to react to this, because low-key, this movie is fucking Iron Man, but cooler and not a sarcastic piece of shit, low-key. Though Iron Man's coming around, his character is evolving, yes, but T'Challa is like using his power, using his technology, and doing the damn thing right, making outreach centers and shit. Oh man, it's so dope. So I want to see the events of Black Panther. I want to see what those events are going to mean for the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I can't wait to see what they try to do with a sequel. Like, there are so many other aspects of like blackdom that they could tackle in a hypothetical sequel if they choose to, continue in that direction. But this was definitely This delivered on all aspects I wanted, pretty much all aspects I wanted as far as action, all aspects I wanted as far as character development and implications for the MCU as a whole, and it also did everything I wanted for the culture. And it was a movie that wasn't just another fun story, it had some callbacks to modern day as well, and it was just outstanding on all fronts. I can't wait to see what else Ryan Coogler works on as well, the director of the film, and I'm hype as hell for Infinity War. So great, so awesome. That's all I got tonight. I got back from the theater at like 2 and it's now 3:55, so your boy need to go to sleep so he can do some homework in the morning. So yeah, thank y'all for watching. I am Emmett Watkins Jr. and I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Keep it real, keep it trill, and Wakanda forever.